on the server, but it's pretty simple out of spawn. I'm on the wrong spawn, but whatever. Usually you shoot the side of the door like that, and then you roll out Valley. In sixes, usually the demo rolls out main, but for Highlander, I prefer Valley because it's a little bit safer. Rolling out main and getting to mid at 50 HP is usually where you get ran at by a scout. Beyond that, for scout, you roll out main or Valley, whichever one, and your objective is basically to hunt the demo. Assuming the demo is aggro like they usually are, you can catch the demo pretty quickly. For soldier, you roll out to concrete, and your main goal is just like poke and prod, and then if you see they're not like guarding a lot, or your team's getting a lot of pressure, then you go ahead and bomb, or you can coordinate with your heavy to push through concrete. Um, rest of combo is pretty self-explanatory. Heavy rolls out concrete 9 out of 10 times. For heavy, I prefer to use head glitch. If sniper's rock or not rock, cliff, I like the little corner, and then my soldier will tell me when we're pushing, and then I'll peek out. So that's rollouts. For basic mids, usually your demo will be fighting left side. Will be fighting from left side. And your soldier and heavy will be controlling concrete. The ideal goal is that your demo is taking space with stickies, and your scout and engineer are capping the point. And along with your demo taking space with stickies, your combo should be walking essentially with your demo if they're healthy. So don't bet your demo type stuff.
No.
For combo specific stuff, if your demo is trying to pressure point and you guys have control a connector, you should be calling that you have control a connector and saying I'm peeking connector in 3, 2, 1. So your demo can walk forward and you guys can collapse and you can essentially wipe the team. So for DM at least, it's usually a lot more coordination than it is raw DM. I mean, obviously raw DM is very important in this map, but if you can coordinate your flank and your combo together, you'll usually wipe whatever team. Beyond that, let's say you win mid and you cleared everybody and you're relatively healthy and you have most of your players, you can do a forward hold. Usually, I like demo on cliff or main, one of the two. It's usually pretty simple. Just trap off this door. For forward holding, I wouldn't usually do it unless you have a whole ton of like players, you have your entire team prepared for it. And even then, if your players don't really know where to stand, it's a little bit hard. Demo can usually play either main or hill. Heavy usually plays either on top of the little house for some funny spam. You can play a tight corner and peek slowly, or you can play one of these corners right here for heavy. Soldier also likes to play cliff usually, or grass, one of the two. As far as the rest of your combo, you'll usually be playing a little bit more baity. Like your demo will be pressuring main, and your pyro will just be spy checking around. But if your demo like runs out of ammo and he can't fight it as much, just be prepared to leave. Same with flank. Forward holding is good, but it's not the easiest to hold in a forward hold because you can leave through different exits, and trying to lock it down is a whole lot harder. Beyond that, let's say you have good ad, you win mid, and you're down a couple players, you'll have to play anti-sack. So your med will be standing back here with your combo. Your heavy will be playing like either on cliff up here or on rock to deny bombs. And your soldier will still be playing traditional spot, not to get ground. Your demo will still be like playing aggro and whatnot, trying to keep space. But there are a couple like really cool spots you can do for denying stuff. Nothing crazy, just simple defenses. But the key point is that your med plays back here. so that if he gets bombed, he can very easily kite out. Um, Beyond that, if you guys end up losing the mid and you want to sack, you usually will roll out main, and you'll call a sack and at a time. You'll say, "Hey, we're gonna get buffs behind house, and we're gonna walk at X time, and we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1." Also, when you are sacking, it is your job. It is your spy's job to call where the medic is. So that information will let you guys bomb them all at the same time, and you'll usually get the med pick.
Got it.
So wherever the med might be, the med's usually around here, dog bread. But if he's not, he might be in pocket. Just be prepared for your spot to call it. Usually for sacks, you'll send at least 5 people, if not more. And your engineer or your pyro, or one of the two, will go back with your medic and chill at spawn. And if you're playing, if the sack does work, you can usually just walk up for free. If the sack doesn't work and you want to like exchange and like try to force them, if you don't really have time for a sack, you basically play a traditional mid, but you play a little bit more like kitey. So like you're still taking pressure, you're still doing damage and whatnot, but you're trying to force them as soon as possible. And that's like the key thing when trying to push back, especially towards the end of the point. I know that's like a 5-minute presentation of the entirety of product, but is there any questions?
My biggest thing with Spy is I get kind of torn up between survey cam and like going in when my team goes in. Do you recommend one spot for surveying? Because there's like a lot of good spy spots. I feel like one for surveying and one for like dropping. Let's say if they play like Valley, because I feel like most teams play Valley.
Like here.
Yeah, like where would you recommend for one for? I just want a good survey spot. Like what is the like golden standard survey spot
Um,
slash drop spot or like
there's
go in
there's a
spot?
there's a lot of really good spots. You can stand on top of here
Yeah.
for a pretty funny stab.
Hmm.
You can
Okay.
stand on top of the windows like this guy's doing.
Yep.
Um, you can stand on top of the boxes as well. Usually people won't check this stuff. The pyro won't. Pyros will usually check this corner, that corner right there, that corner, this house especially. They'll probably check quite a bit. So playing off angles that you can still see stuff is usually spy's forte.
Okay.
And as far as going for stabs versus camera spy, um, that's mainly ad versus disad type stuff. If you have ad and you're expecting a sack wave, you can call when they're sacking for it. And if you have disad, you can call when to pressure for a stab. Like demo, I'm gonna drop down in 3, 2, 1 to get a stab. Can you pressure main?
Right.
And then you call that.
You can
But
also coordinate with your soldier bombs.
yeah, that's another really big thing for spy is to call where A, where the medic is, but B, when your soldier should be bombing.
Should it be the spy saying when the soldier bombs, or the soldier when the spy bombs, or back and forth?
The spy, because you have more information. And then
Okay.
the soldier can say whether he's in a position to bomb.
Do or not, right? Because I think I would usually say like meatball, let me know when you're ready. So I didn't know if I should keep doing that or.
Yeah, yeah. Just try to make sure that the soldier's ready and that he has the information he needs to get a good bomb. That's
Okay.
like the biggest deal. And for stabs, I usually wait until you have pressure or someone's being alone.
Right.
Good stab spots, like you can do the normal Assassin's Creed stuff where you do like goofy crap. Um, house
Yeah.
house you can usually like get like right here, get a pretty clean kill. Depending on where the combo's standing, either behind rock or in pocket, you can decloak here or decloak like back here, and you usually get a stab. Or you can also decloak on top of cliff. But there's quite a few very funny ones. This is another like traditional spy decloaking spot. You just like decloak here and
Yeah.
go
That's
for a med.
usually, as I said, that's where I usually go. But I didn't know if there's any better ones. But it seems like
Yeah.
there's a lot.
You can also, if I can hit it, you can also decloak back here, little corner. Same thing. It's a lot harder to like see that because by the time you see it, he's already on somebody. So there's a lot of very good decloaking spots. It's a little bit harder for Pyro to keep track of people. Um, if that you're having a lot of time, like if you're having a really hard time with combo, like with the power is really good, you can also just stab the heavy repeatedly and usually win
Yeah.
like. Any other questions?
Just sniper in general.
Um, Sniper usually sticks close to combo. One key thing is that don't peek the same angle like a couple times over. Like I've seen snipers that roll out cliff, shoot cliff like 5 shots in a row and then get like repeatedly bombed, or like they rotate to China and then get nothing and get bombed and stabbed. Just make sure that like you're mixing up your angles. Um, Here this is a pretty good angle. Usually, you can kind of peek whenever, but especially peek when your team is peeking. So when your demo's walking a valley and your combos are already like drawing a lot of eyes, then then you should be able to peek pretty for free, I should say.
Okay.
So ideally, peek with your team. If you solo peek and get sniped, it's kind of just your problem more than anything. Um, just make sure that you're with your team and peeking with them and not trying to like get caught out at a bad time. Because
Okay.
like if you're staggering, your team has to wait for you to win the SVS to walk, especially if the sniper's really good.
I would say Rock, China, and Cliff are probably your go-tos.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also do a couple like off angles. This is a very funny off angle. I've hit some very nasty shots. This is another really good off angle. Usually would not run stairs, but it's also another really funny off angle. Um, this is a pretty good angle for getting a med pick. There's a lot of like really good angles for sniper. Just more of a matter that you're making sure that you know when you're peeking and when your team's peeking.
Okay.
Any other questions?
For engineer, I'm more just curious. Like the mini always goes on the side, and dispenser always goes behind rock. But in teleporter and house, is there any like other times when you'd switch around the buildings, like the locations? Maybe if you're getting, I'm guessing like only if you're getting like stomped and shit.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, you can put a mini in main or a mini on grass, but usually it won't really do that much. The traditional is just like dispenser here or here. Minigun, or I guess mini is like right here, guarding point. Teleporter is usually just in house. It really doesn't need to be anywhere else. You can put it back here if you want to. Um, there, like you can put it here as well.
You
Hmm.
can also put it
There's-
on Japan, technically.
Yeah, there's no real like best spot, but there's a lot of pretty decent ones. So find which one you like the most and use that one.
Can you show the demo rollout one more time?
Sure. I'm at the wrong spawn. Let me go to this spawn. So usually one sticky back here. And then oops. Then you get rebuffed at 260. One sticky here. I usually 2 sticky it. You can 3 sticky if you want to. This is more for sixes than anything, but you can do that if you want to. I usually like to roll out Valley. And then by the time I'm walking up, I'm 260 and I'm ready to fight. It is slightly slower, but you're not gonna be getting
Like the
caught
medic's
up.
gonna catch up to you before you actually jump up over on the point.
Yeah, like by the time I'm like around here, my med's already with me.
Okay.
Ish. So it is slightly slower, but you'll usually have a much more solid mid because of it. Especially in higher divs, these scouts are like kind of a menace. If you roll out like the normal sixes roll out,
Over that.
and you get to
Cheat.
you get to point with like 100 HP, you'll just get mulched by a scout every
Mhm.
single time on repeat. And losing a demo that early is just really, really bad.
Okay.
So you effectively have to sack your entire team immediately after you lose your demo.
Should medic just sit pocket mostly, like 90% of the time because of the amount they can get bombed in Valley and like the sniper obviously sightlines when they push up. Like only push up when you have the Uber.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
usually stay in pocket. Either in pocket or behind rock. Both aren't like great, but when you guys have point, then your med can stand on dog bread.
Right. Okay.
Also, I think I forgot to mention how to break out of forward holds. So let's say they're forward holding. Depending on where the demo is where you'll break. You can either break through really any of them work, but if the demo is on cliff, you can break main. If the demo is on grass, you can also break cliff. You kind of just like spot the demo simulator, and if you know where they are and you know where the team is, based on your spy's information, you can kind of break wherever you really need to. But the biggest deal is just making sure that you're not feeding into the demo or the whichever player is holding the area. It's usually pretty simple to break out, just spotting people.
I've only ever seen the demo play on cliff/house, so I've always known to push grass. Does the demo ever? I've never like. Does the demo actually stay in grass sometimes in forward holds?
In forward holds, what do you mean?
Yeah, when like the enemy demo saying I want to push into a forward hold. I've never seen a demo stay in grass before, so I've always just
It-
pushed grass.
Usually they'll be around main.
Okay.
Main or cliff, one of the two. Usually you'll have flank be watching grass.
Mm-hmm.
So usually main grass or flank are like kind of just depends on where the demo's holding. And like if you can spot the heavy, focus the heavy down, you can usually walk for free.
Now flank is pushed up like pretty far. Like if they're just absolutely rolling the other flank, should we just hold like forward hold concrete? Because I feel like you said, if you go on the, or if you go their concrete, that just puts a lot of pressure on them, right?
Going there concrete, unless your flank is usually pretty weak.
Okay.
Um, the reason for that is that because of this like giant wall right here, you
Mhm.
can very easily get demolished by one bomb. Like I think one or two rockets and your entire team collapses. That's why usually when you're forward holding, you'll be like around here. I mean, not like forward holding, but you have pretty good point control. So you should
Mhm.
be holding here. Mainly because you can spot main and valley. And then your flank can just watch that. If your team's like really getting diffs on flank, then your demo might be able to rotate a little bit, but he really can't be taking eyes off of main and valley. Where you're kind of just gonna get rolled.
I've notoriously had my team, like teams I've played on, notoriously have had trouble with heavies on concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything to do about that besides just sending my heavy and hoping that he can beat him? Like
No.
with my flank?
So, the key to having the heavy not peek that is to have your heavy right here,
Mm-hmm.
and if he's becoming a big problem, you have your sniper roll out cliff and just instantly kill him.
Okay.
And then you can also make sure your soldier like plays up here and like
Mm-hmm.
plays a spam angle.
What's the name for that roof again? It has a name, isn't it?
I just call it roof. I mean, or flank roof,
I think
whatever.
I think I've heard it called Highlander spot.
Yeah, I haven't really used it that much because I don't really play soldier, but do play a lot of heavy though. The biggest thing with making sure the heavy doesn't walk is making sure that you're not giving up like this space. Especially with heavy, you can just like kind of corner peek this, and you'll usually win the fight. Along with your heavy or your soldier peeking that angle from up here, I guess Highlander roof, whatever you want to call it. He won't be able to walk at all.
Just heavy want to be on stock or Tommyslav on this map, you think?
Personal preference, but I do prefer Tommy.
Okay.
Both are very, very powerful. I use both quite often. But Tommy's a little more for mid-range. Stock's usually for close range. Both. This map has both, so it kind of just depends on what your playstyle is like. Any other questions?
No, the world's
that's
most
it.
complicated map.
Yep. I guess.
mean, yeah, not super complicated as DM map.
Yeah.
It's like
What is like the top 2 things you recommend? Not even 3. Like big highlights of the map.
big highlights. Make sure you're walking as a team and staying back as a team. So if your demo's playing aggro, then your flank can play aggro. If your demo's playing passive and he's back here reloading, your flank should just be playing like medium aggressive. Like you're still playing passive and you're making sure you don't take the ground or you don't lose the ground. If you like I mentioned earlier, if your demo's pushing up here and he's trying to walk it, then your flank can try to walk connector and support him. Along with that, make sure that see what would be another really good tip. I'd say make sure you're not taking individual 1v1 fights constantly. Like yes, this is very much a DM map, but call what you're shooting and make sure that like you're not trying to 1v1 the flank or 1v1 whoever is walking up. Because oftentimes if you call a focus on it, you can just simply kill the guy a lot faster. I've seen like scouts like walk flank and try to ego some random engineer and get absolutely bodied by the engineer. So walk with your team. Your team's playing passive. Play passive with your team. Don't take 1v1 fights. Move as a unit. That type of stuff.
Sounds good.
Same with feeding. If you're all feeding or if you're all sacking, all sack completely. Don't go halfway.
Any other questions for Ice? Shortest map review ever. Next week we're gonna make it 2 hours to make up for it.
When are we getting a steel review?
Steel
Oh
review.
god, Steel! Dude, that map's...
That's gonna be a 2-hour one.
I love
will,
steel.
That will actually be a 2-hour review.
There you go.
The first time I played on it, I got so lost on heavy. It was rough.
We're gonna do the simpler ones first, and then the more complex ones later. So I think that will probably be later.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted to talk about Upward and Product first because they're more or less the gold standard for payload and Koth respectively.
Like they
So-
never get banned. Too.
Yeah. So like understanding them at a fundamental level like transfers over to a lot of other maps as well.
Cool. Alright. Thanks guys for showing up. I'm gonna start taking attendance. So
Yeah, it's
you get
attendance.
you get
It's
a
like
you get a
school.
gold